Agapitude. I love you just because. So, little history about me. If you've seen one of my earlier videos, I explained how I ended up on this path of forgiveness. And so I want to share that how I went from forgiveness to actual self forgiveness was in the late 80s. I was suffering from undiagnosed PTSD. One of the things that helped me during that time was to do some journaling. And I did a lot. I did a lot of journaling. And it must have been in 1989 that I was looking through some old journals, beating up on myself, saying, "Boy, I haven't made any progress with this." And so I started looking at some old journals, just thinking, well, maybe I have. Let's see where I was, a few years ago. And I read something in one of my old journals that just stopped me dead in my tracks. And I had written, "I am my own worst enemy." And I was like, oh my God, I still feel that way. So I want to change that. Why? I receive no benefit from being my own worst enemy. So what I thought about as I journaled about why am I still my own worst enemy, I thought, how would things change if I started treating myself as my own best friend? And I started looking at some of the things that I was saying to myself and realized I would never say that to my best friend, let alone even an acquaintance. I would never treat someone as bad as I was treating myself. And that was the beginning of my self-forgiveness journey. Was I started treating myself as my own best friend. I started treating myself better. I started changing those messages in my head to a more positive message, a message that I would feel good about sharing with my best friend, and words of encouragement, words, many words, and treating myself with love versus anger and contempt. So, went from being my worst enemy to becoming my best friend. And how do you know you're your best friend? You're perfectly comfortable in your own presence. Isn't that beautiful? Years ago, I met a woman and she told me a story about when she was going on vacation, and one of her friends said, "Well, that must be great. You looking forward to go on vacation?" And she said, "Yeah, if only I wasn't going with myself." And we both laughed when she said that. And then I thought, oh, oh, how sad. When I've gone on vacation, and I've gone on vacations by myself, it has been wonderful because I'm there with my best friend. When I've gone with other people, I treat them as my best friend, and we all have a wonderful time. Pretty simple, but hard to do. So go be your best friend. Change those words of anger, hatred, contempt to words of love and encouragement. Change those messages within your mind, because you can. You have the power to do that, regardless of how many years you've told yourself all those negative things. Start now and put some feelings, some beliefs, some faith in yourself and the words that you're telling yourself. Do that. Watch how your life changes. Because my prediction is you're going to be your best friend and you're going to have so much fun doing those wonderful things with yourself, even if it's just walking in a park. Peace.